In this video, we're talking about how while GTA 6 might be delayed, it looks like it's definitely going to be worth the wait on PS5. Then we're going to talk about how PS5 always wins in the end. And finally, here's how Shuhei Yoshida saved Gran Turismo. This video is sponsored by Scry and their Arctic PS5 coolers. That's right, Scry is back here on PSReady to sponsor the channel, and I am glad about it because this is my favorite PS5 accessory. And the cool thing is, no matter which PS5 you have, they have a cooler for you. They've got the Arctic V2 for the launch PS5, they've got the Arctic S for the PS5 Slim, and they have, of course, the Arctic Pro for the brand new PS5 Pro, and you're gonna want one of these coolers. The first big benefit is it stops thermal throttling, so no matter what game you're playing, no matter what engine it uses, no matter how hard it's pushing your PS5, it's going to remain at optimal temperatures. And you also get a cool benefit of an extended lifespan, because if you're running your console hot all the time, that's gonna degrade the parts quicker. If you equip one of these coolers, it'll run cooler all the time, which will make the parts last longer. I've been playing a lot of the Crew Motorfest lately because of all the updates they've added into the game, and that's a game that pushes the PS5 pretty hard, but I get no lag, no slowdown, no overheating, and when I go to touch my console, when I put it in rest mode, it is cool to the touch. It's honestly kind of insane. And that great performance I just mentioned stays great no matter how long I'm playing, and there is a lot to do in the Crew Motorfest, so I hate to admit it, but I play that game for a long time. I love when Scry comes back to sponsor the channel because I've been using their products for years now. On my launch PS5, my PS5 Slim, and my PS5 Pro, it improves my experience across the board. When you're ready to grab one of these, you can pre-order it through their website, and if you use the code PSReady at checkout, you'll get an extra $5 off. Once again, huge shout out to Scry for sponsoring this video. How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is PSReady, my channel all about PlayStation, and yeah, I understand that it's disappointing that GTA 6 got delayed. I'm disappointed about it, but it's gonna be the biggest game of all time, and if you've been a fan of Rockstar Games, which I'm assuming you are for like the past decade, you probably expected them to delay this game, right? Like no one really expected them to hit 2025, and that's why no one really believed them when they said they were going to hit 2025. It was like, yeah, sure, but like this is the one game where I'm like, take as much time as you need, make sure you finish it, get it out the door actually without bugs and like running well. And then they put out this trailer and it basically was like, yeah, this game's gonna look and run amazing on PS5 because the entire trailer was captured on a base PS5. And you can definitely see it, like it's using FSR for sure. A lot of the hair gets that little shimmery effect when it's like zoomed in on characters, and there's definitely upscaling going on, but I like that this whole trailer was captured within the game because what we're getting is what we're seeing on the screen. And one thing that Rockstar does that other developers don't do is they continually tweak and work on the actual graphics all the way up until release. So like if you look at the trailers for Red Dead Redemption 2 and compare it to the final game, it looks better in the end of the day than it did in the trailers. And I fully expect that to happen for GTA 6. And obviously it's content locked, so they're probably on the polishing and optimization stage and everything like that. And someone was like asking, they have this massive team, this massive budget, why is it taking so long? When you're making a game this big, you have to catch up continually with new technology. So like if the Dodge Ram they used back when they started this game, probably in like 2016 or whatever, gets updated, which it did multiple times, they then have to go through and make sure that their version of the Dodge Ram looks like the version of the Dodge Ram that's on the street today. So the longer it takes to develop, the more time it takes to re-update all the assets, and that just probably makes it take longer. I don't know. I'm happy to wait for it. I think it looks amazing, obviously. And the coolest thing about this trailer that I haven't seen anyone kind of mention, I mentioned it on Twitter, is that there's so many references to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with this character Jason. He's basically like Cliff Booth, you know, he's like retired military, which Cliff Booth is from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. There's a shot of him fixing the leaks on the roof, which is a nice nod to all the GTA 6 leaks and everything like that. He's doing odd jobs to get by because his Marine service didn't really work out. He's kind of like in the in-between stage of like, yeah, I'll do some crime. Yeah, I'll get a normal job. I just want to make money while my girlfriend's in jail and I'm waiting for her to get out. And there's a lot of shots in the beginning of the trailer where he's driving through Vice City and all the surrounding areas, and it's just very Once Upon a Time in Hollywood inspired. Like it's basically a direct copy, and I think that's cool. And then towards the middle or the end of the trailer, there's a shot of him holding hands with Lucia. He's wearing the Cliff Booth outfit, the jeans, the white shirt, the yellow Hawaiian shirt, I love that outfit. It's so recognizable, right? Like, I want that outfit in real life. I have the moccasins. I wear them all the time. But like, I feel like that's so recognizable that it then becomes corny, so I never wear it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit too recognizable from a movie, but it is such a good look, and I will be rocking it in the game for sure. The thing that blew me away with this is the amount of detail, like the NPC interactions, like them watching them work out on the beach and stuff. Like, it's clear that the NPC AI has gotten a severe upgrade from what we saw in GTA 5. The whole movement system looks a lot better captured. It looks a lot more realistic. Like, they kind of bridged the gap where they had motion capture for GTA 5, but you could tell that the characters acting out what the actors were doing weren't actually like connected to the world, right? Like, they were on a soundstage and not in the actual world. In this, it looks like they're in the actual world, and I think that's a huge step up. It's obviously very similar to Red Dead Redemption 2 that had that same effect, but it's good to see it entering GTA 5. And I'm just excited for all the side activities, man, like hunting, fishing with all the different wildlife in Florida. It's just going to be so cool. And I loved seeing modern cars. I know that they've introduced a lot of modern cars into GTA Online, and then hopefully they can move those models forward and punch up their graphics. But yeah, just seeing the new Dodge Ram and everything in the trailer was sweet. There was obviously a mission that was referencing Fast and Furious 5, which is my favorite Fast and Furious after Tokyo Drift, when, you know, they connect the bank vault to all the different cars and they're dragging it through the streets. There was a reference to that. So yeah, I'm just very excited for it. Obviously May is a year away, which sucks, but I think it's going to be worth the wait. And the best part is they picked PlayStation hardcore in this trailer. Strauss Zelnick, the guy who runs Take-Two Interactive, he has a gold-plated PS5 in his office. He clearly favors PlayStation over Xbox, but in the trailer, there is a shot of a DualShock 4 connected to a white console with a black middle and LEDs down the middle. Clearly, their in-world version of a PlayStation 5. I think it'd be cool if they just got a real PS5 in there, but it's still cool to see them favor PlayStation so hard, because I feel like the defining moment that really solidified GTA as the biggest franchise of all time was how heavily San Andreas was tied into the PlayStation 2. If we didn't have that, like if it was an Xbox exclusive or a PC exclusive, I don't think it would be anywhere near as big as it is today. So this is a good reason to own a PS5. I'm excited to see some gameplay on the PS5 Pro, because if it looks this good on the regular PS5, I can only imagine what it's going to look like on the Pro, man. I think it's going to run pretty well. I would not hope for 60 FPS. I don't think that's really achievable. I think the 60 FPS version will hopefully come out with the PS6, but it looks like this game is going to be pretty polished on day one. Hopefully it's not a 25 to 27 FPS experience like GTA 5 was on the PS3 back in the day. I couldn't even see frame rate back then, but now going back, I think it would look pretty dang rough. So yeah, it's nice to see one that looks incredible on launch versus looking a little bit like it's pushing the console past its limits like GTA 5 did with the PS3 and 360. But that brings me to the second news story, which is that the PS5 always wins in the end. So I'll never forget when the Activision Blizzard saga was going on with Xbox. Of course, everyone was talking about what's going to happen to Call of Duty. Is Xbox going to make it exclusive? And now here we are in the future where Xbox is a third-party publisher for PlayStation. There's this one account on Twitter that I genuinely feel bad for. It's called Snap Blast Play. This is like one of the only Xbox accounts on Twitter that actually plays games. The guy's constantly sharing new clips from his Xbox. He showed a really cool clip with the quick resume where he switched between the old Oblivion and the new Oblivion. That was a nice flex because you can't play the old Oblivion on the PlayStation 5, and the Xbox obviously goes back to the original Xbox. That's one of the coolest features for sure. He posted a tweet with a black screen image that said game over with green text. And I just feel bad when you see the fans who don't play games, which are the vast majority of them, just farming Twitter engagement. Who cares what they think? But when you see someone who's dedicated all of this time and energy to being a true fan of a brand, it's got to feel pretty rough to be kicked to the curb like this. And I'm not being facetious at all. I'd be pretty bummed, right? Like seeing everything go third party. But getting back on track here, Call of Duty was a weird one because there was like a huge licensing deal between PlayStation and Activision to have bundles, to have early access to DLC. There was an exclusive skin skin in Modern Warfare 3 that was Jin Sakai themed, like it was a samurai skin, and it looked awesome. Obviously, when that contract expired, all of that stuff was up in the air and debatable on whether or not it would happen. Everyone just assumed there'd be Xbox Series X bundles with Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and that the PlayStation ones would go away. And for a time, they did, right? Like the launch bundle did not exist for Black Ops 6, but now, thanks to Bill Kuhn, we know that there is a PS5 bundle with Black Ops 6 coming. I can't believe this is real. This is the real kill shot, guys. Like, I know it seemed like the kill shot was Gears of War coming over because that was one of Xbox's biggest marquee franchises, and this is definitely worse for them, having a bundle with your competing hardware with your biggest game. It's like Family Guy level of you'd never think that this would ever happen, but these are the decisions that Microsoft's going to have to make going forward, right? Like they don't just have to sell a lot of games. It's not like it starts from zero with all these different studios that they picked up. They have to recoup the billions of dollars that they spent on companies like Bethesda and Activision, and the only way to do that is to not just sell a lot of copies of these games on PlayStation, but it's to sell as many copies of these games as possible. And with Black Ops 6 kind of having the worst reputation in a long time for Call of Duty, if they want to get more copies out there, the easiest way to do that is to sign a licensing deal with Sony to get the game put in a box with a PlayStation 5 console. And these bundles are important. Like I know the Horizon ones don't really sell all that well with the mainstream people because, you know, it's kind of a harder core sort of PlayStation first party game. I don't know what the audience is for Horizon. That was a bad pick, but like Astrobot, that's for the family, you know, the people who want to play the Mario type game. They're going to go, oh, I can get a bundle with Astrobot, this highly rated Game of the Year winning game. I'm going to go for that, especially with it being on sale for $380 lately. That's a no-brainer type purchase situation for families. But like the mainstream Madden player, Call of Duty player, having a bundle with those games, that's what's going to drive consoles, right? Like if you can get the game for free with the console, that's going to make it a good birthday purchase, a good Christmas purchase, a good just random purchase at the store, right? Like all your buddies are on the new Warzone because Verdansk is back. You want to get into it. Oh, you can go right to the store, pick up a PS5 with Black Ops 6. You're going to bring that home. You're going to have a good time. And people are acting like this is Xbox winning over Sony, but like this is Sony's win at the end of the day because every game that Xbox sells on the PlayStation 5, 30% of that goes directly to Sony. So no matter what, Sony's always winning. They truly won the console wars. And there is a downside to that, of course, which is they're on top. You know, they can do whatever they want. They can be as consumer unfriendly as they want, but they've done a good job kind of cleaning up the back half of this generation. So I'm not expecting anything too crazy to happen in the like consumer unfriendly department, but I just never expected this, man. Like my dad, when the Xbox came out and the PS2 came out and the GameCube came out, I wanted a GameCube and my dad was like, no, we're getting an Xbox because he could get every launch game from his buddy who had a Best Buy or something like that. And I had every launch game. It felt like a really cool machine. It sucked in the long run because the generation was very short. You know, they kind of got the Xbox out the door late and then they kept it alive for a very quick time period. And then they had the 360 and my dad wouldn't buy it for me. So I had to buy my own. And then I felt like I made the wrong purchase. So I ended up having to save up again for a PlayStation 3. But yeah, speaking of great games, let's talk about Gran Turismo really quick because right now it's one of Sony's biggest franchises, right? Like it's a continual moneymaker. They can put out a new GT game. People will bitch and moan about the live service aspects, rightfully so, because the credit system in GT7 is nuts. Thankfully, they've moved on to GT8. I hope they kind of learned a lesson with GT7 and how quickly people dropped off of it, trying to turn it into a live service thing. But it could have been a completely different story. This game could have died before it ever came out because Shuhei Yoshida saved it. And if he didn't save it, it would have never gone as far as it did. So he told a story in an interview about something he never gets credit for that he wanted to give himself credit for. And he gave himself credit for the success of Gran Turismo. So basically when they were creating Gran Turismo over at Polyphony Digital, they wanted it to be the racing sim to end all racing sims, or the racing sim to start the genre of racing sim. They wanted it to be the most realistic game possible. They wanted it to feel like that DualShock in your hands was you behind the wheel of a car. And because of that, it made the game way too difficult. So Shuhei came in and said, said, man, I get it. I know you guys want to make this the most realistic driving sim ever, but it's a video game at the end of the day that needs to sell copies. And if you want this to be a franchise, you got to tone down the difficulty just a little bit. So Polyphony set up a bunch of play tests where they just invited random people in off the street to play Gran Turismo. They set them all up on the exact same race, on the exact same track with the exact same car. And lo and behold, every single person, whether they were a driver, whether they were someone who doesn't have a car, whether they were someone who just uses a car to get from point A to point B, drive them to work in the morning or drop their kids off at school, they would get to the first turn and just slam right into the wall and absolutely decimate the car and lose the race. There was not a single person who could get behind the controller or the wheel of this car and actually make their way around the first turn. So the producer, he looked at Shuhei, he said, you were right. He toned down the actual simulation elements and did his best to find that happy middle ground between being a simulator and being an arcade racing game. And now there's plenty of Gran Turismo games. The numbering is all screwed up. I don't even know how many there are. There are 7 mainline games. There's GT Sport, there's Tourist Trophy, which is motorcycle Gran Turismo, and then of course there's the PSP one, which is like a pared down version of Gran Turismo 4. It's one of my favorite franchises ever. When I'm in bed at night, I always boot up GT4 with the Spec 2 mod, which is like a complete visual overhaul on my Steam Deck. I get some races in before I go to bed. That's my one wish for Gran Turismo 8, that they go back to the CarPG aspect of GT4, where you had to buy used cars, kind of get them as far as they could go, grind races, win money, buy better cars. It was a great progression system that I don't know why they got rid of it. They wanted the live service shit in GT7, and they definitely paid the price for it, despite how great that game is. So yeah, the future of GT is definitely bright. The movie is underrated. And without Shuhei Yoshida, I wouldn't have been able to go through the mental torture that was 100%ing my first Gran Turismo at the end of last year. So thanks, Shuhei, for the mental problems that gave me. Anyway, guys, that's all I've got for you in this midweek update. As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and shape on.